Okay, so we are going to do a home buyer workshop today um, for everyone that is interested in purchasing here in Florida. We're going to go kind of over how you do that and kind of see if you guys have any questions. All right, now I'm attempting to add people to this because I have Aladi Fonseca that's joining us, and we also have Caitlin, and I am trying to figure out how to add them in here, which we may or may not be doing. Okay, let's see. So we might have them on the chat, which is weird. All right. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Um, I was hoping I would be like really, really great with this. Not so much. Okay. Caitlin and Eladi. And we'll get started. So, any questions out there so far in regards to how to buy a home in Ocala, in Florida? Um, Anything at all that you're interested in? Let's see if we got anybody in the chat yet. Just kind of waiting, letting people join in. Oh, good, I can. Okay. Okay. Posting that out. All right. Not seeing any questions come up, so we're just going to take a couple minutes, just getting everybody in. And so as soon as Eladi and Caitlin are in here, I see an Anthony Flores is joining us. Okay, so I do have a booklet that I've basically created that is basically everything that you can possibly know about how to purchase a home. Not only the steps, but also like it takes you in depth into the steps. So like it's like, okay, take title. Okay, cool. Well, how do you take title in Florida? There's actually a few different ways that you can take title. So knowing how you want to actually take title, not just for now, but also for the future is really important. Sometimes people will purchase a home with a partner, or maybe their parents will purchase a home and they want to put their adult child on it as well. Or maybe you're buying with your boyfriend or girlfriend, and so you have to kind of figure out how you're going to who it's going to go to if you weren't there. So let's say, for example, if you're married, it's going to go to your children. Well, what if there was a previous marriage, and the wife is like, well, I have kids from a previous marriage. We have one together, so I want to try and split with everyone. If I pass away, they're going to get a portion of the house. Or maybe they don't want to do that, and the husband's like, I'm buying the house. It's this is for my family, or something like that. So it just really depends on how you want to take the title, and how that title is going to be passed down after you. So it can go to both your heirs in equal measure, or it can go to, once you pass away, the entire thing goes to the remaining spouse or significant other, or whatever you want to call it. So it really just depends. So figuring that out right from the start is great. Yes, you can change that later, but it's attorneys, and it's a little bit more difficult. So it's better to just figure it out right from the start. You can add someone to the title. A question that we get a lot is, can I put someone on the title but not the mortgage? So let's say if a couple is married and the husband has, really good credit, and he has all the income, but the wife, even though she makes good income, she has a lot of debt, maybe from student loans or something like that. So you can actually purchase it together normally, and you can have title in both names, but have the mortgage just under him. In most cases, you can do that. Depends on how you're going to be doing financing and stuff, but that is something you can actually do normally. So again, each situation that we've seen is so completely different that it's really important to, have those kind of discussions ahead of time. Let your real estate agent know what you're wanting to do. Let the title company know, because they're going to be the ones filling out the paperwork and submitting it to the courts. So it's really important that you have it down. Now, as far as odd and interesting things here in Florida that are a little bit different, you probably have heard of, um, let's see, of homesteading. Okay, so homesteading is, our homes are protected. Okay, we're protected in our homes. So you can't have multiple properties where you're attempting to have all of them homesteaded. You can only have your homestead like that. So this is not for investment properties or anything like that. This is for your home that you live in, and it protects the homeowner's rights. So if you were to go through a bankruptcy, or a spouse passes away, the adult children of the one that passed away cannot force the wife or something out of the house. She would be able to live until, even if she's not going to, you know, own the house after, they cannot force her out because it was homestead or whatever. So it's kind of interesting. It's just a protection. It's like a layer of protection for homestead. It's almost like homes are sacred in Florida. That's essentially the idea behind them. Not only that, but if you are, your home is Florida, you're going to get a significant credit off your property appraisers, or off your property tax bill. So, I mean, we're talking significant, like thousands in some cases per year. So it does give an exemption for that. I think it's 25,000. I don't know. Anyway, but that is a big thing. So one person said, "Oh, I have to own the house for a year before I can do that," right? They just asked me that, and I was like, "No, not at all. You can go ahead, and as soon as you're a Florida resident, that's your home, you go and get your driver's license updated with that Florida address, and you get a utility bill, just one utility bill to prove that that is your home, it's your home address, and then you can go ahead and utilize that homestead exemption." So I would say do it right away. Because maybe you own the house for a year, but you missed the cutoff, and now you got to wait a whole nother year to do it. You don't want to do that. So just go ahead and get it done right away. Just think of it like a coupon, basically. And there are other exemptions that you can get in Florida, and you can actually stack them. That's why I always think of them as coupons, because you can stack coupons in some cases. So let's say if you are, it's your home and you're also a veteran, you would get a discount if you're over a certain age. I believe it's over 65. You get another exemption. If you're a disabled veteran, you would get another exemption. So there's all these exemptions. I have actually seen where people have either less than $100 per year in property taxes for their home, or absolutely no property taxes at all. So kind of interesting on that stuff. So just be aware that those are things as well. So, all right. If you are interested in the home buyers book that we have created that goes over all of that stuff in detail, just let me know, and you can go ahead and either put it in the chat that you want one. And we will go ahead and email one out to you. Or if you would like to, just like, we need your email address. So just, you can email us at GER@expectmore. Excuse me. GER.expectmore@gmail.com. I was like, that doesn't sound right for a second. So yeah, GER.expectmore@gmail.com, and we'll get that out to you. Okay. But this, the buyer's book will have everything from lenders that we like in the area. They do a really great job. They answer questions. They go over everything. So you can get a hold of lenders. It has all their contact information. And keep in mind, this is not anybody that we make money off of. They don't do any kickbacks or give us something because we send them somebody. It's just somebody that we actually really like. We know that they're going to take care of our customers. And if they don't, we're taking them off of our preferred lender list. And then we also have like home inspectors. There's also, oh my goodness, there's home insurance companies, contact information. So you can contact several of them and get some quotes. Survey companies in case you need a survey on the property. Basically anything and everything that you need. We also have all of the schools and their websites. So it's all the public schools and private schools. So you can contact them, or you can check their website to see about the zoning if you're in that zoning. Now in Marion County, we have something called school choice. So if you decide that you want your child to go to another school that you're not zoned for, you can actually fill out a single piece of paper application and go ahead and do that. That being said, if you're doing school choice, you are responsible to get them to and from school, because you can live anywhere in the county and go to school anywhere in the county, but that doesn't mean that you're going to have transportation to everywhere that's up. We have a really, really, really big county. So, I mean, can you imagine if somebody from like Umatilla, which is like way out there, it's like halfway to Daytona. But if somebody wanted to go to school over in Denellen, which is on the other side of the county, that's literally a couple hours. So that's not a good plan. It's not a good plan. At least bare minimum straight through at least an hour. So it's just not going to work. So, yeah. So really big space. So if you want to get that, again, we have all of these resources for you guys. So definitely let us know. All right. So Elani, are you in here? Say hi if you are. She's like, I see a Christine. Okay. I'm like only lonely with you guys today. Like, it is like a huge window right next to me. I'm sure I look kind of blue or something because it's the sun is shining right at me. I should have like really reconsidered this. I probably like you can see every line, but anyway, we just got back from doing a 5K up in Gainesville, my daughter and I, and it was very fun and very exciting. So we legit just pulled into the driveway 10 minutes ago. I was like, I have to get done. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I think Caitlin should be joining us shortly, and so will Alani, just in case. And Alani's gonna be keeping track of the comments, so hopefully that'll help. All right, so if you are interested in purchasing a home in Florida, there are some differences. There are definitely some differences. For example, one of the things that throws people is we don't use attorneys very often to close. Now of course you can always use an attorney to close, but 90% of the deals are probably done just at the title company. So it's actually, there she is. Hey, Alati. So a lot of the deals are done at the title company, no attorney present or anything like that. I know in some states it's required that you have to go through an attorney to do a closing. That's not the case here, not at all. So, and then through the title company, they're going to give you the title insurance and stuff as well. So just a heads up on that one. So it is just a little bit different just in that. So oftentimes when I have somebody that's coming from another state, that's one of the questions they're going to ask is, well, when do we get the attorneys involved? And I'm like, you can at any point. It is not mandatory at all. So that's a little point that I like to bring out. So how many people do we have in here that are brand new home buyers? Like you've never bought a house and you're not sure what in the world it's all about. Like what are the steps? How do you do this going through? Do we have any brand new home buyers in here? It's intimidating, right? Having that, I mean, I would be intimidated. I know back in the day, I was definitely intimidated. Um, Even, it's about the same as our agents when they've never helped somebody to purchase a home, even if they bought them themselves. It's a very intimidating process. So, can be anyway. All right. So, I'm going to assume that all of you guys are new to home buying. So, first things first, got to start at the beginning, right? Okay. First thing that you have to do is get pre approved or pre qualified. Those are two different things. Okay. Um, that one, I think I probably have the most, I don't know, they kind of kick their feet and like, and why do you have to do that before, you just want to go out and see what what's out there, what the prices are. You want to kind of window shop and stuff. Window shopping is fine. That's what Zillow's for. I like Zillow. I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love Zillow for window shopping, but not for actual shopping, because it's delayed often and inaccurate. And when you are actually going out to make a purchase and you're going into the details of making that purchase, inaccuracies are that's not good. So anyway, so yeah, you would go ahead and get pre-approved or pre-qualified. Now, why do you want to do that first? Why do you want to do that first? I mean, I know why the realtors want you to do that first because, we don't want you to go and find a house, fall in love with it, and then you can't have it because you only got pre-qualified up to 300 and that one's 325. So we don't want to put you through that. And we've seen it over and over and over again. Or what if you can't get pre-qualified or pre-approved at all and you've already been shopping for like a week and we've spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. That's not a good option either. So basically it's like your realtor is taking you to the grocery store. It's like a friend taking you to the grocery store, but you don't check your wallet to see if you have any cash or cards in there. So then you get to the grocery store and you're like, oh, wait, I don't have any money. That it's awkward. It's very awkward for all involved. So before you go to the grocery store, you want to check to make sure you have your wallet, right? Makes sense? Okay. So yes, we will be happy to take you to the grocery store, but you got to find out not only that you have your wallet, but also how much you have in your wallet. So if you only have cash, you can only shop for X amount. Make sense? So if you've got like 20 bucks in your wallet, okay, not a problem. You're not going to go in there and do like, you're not going to go over and look at $30, seafood and steaks. You're going to go over there and get the essentials. You're going to get milk, eggs, bread, whatever. So that's what we're kind of trying to gauge. And the way we set up the shopping for you is to eliminate things that are not what you're needing. We'll go through the needs first, the wants later. So you're going to get everything you need normally, maybe not everything you want. So if you write down that you want a 5,000 square foot house with a pool, you want an outdoor kitchen, you want an outdoor shower, you want a glass enclosed lanai, you want screen porch as well, you want like a massive outdoor space, and you want at least an acre and all this other stuff. Okay, those are all wants. And we're going to write them down and we're going to take that into account. But if you only have this amount in your budget, we're going to go back to, okay, what do you actually need? You need a roof over your head. Okay, how many bedrooms minimum do we need? So we're going to look at that stuff first, and then we'll look at the pool, the outdoor kitchen. And why do we do that? Because you can always add that stuff later. Okay, if you have the roof over your head, you're golden. You're no longer in the homeless category. We want to keep you out of the homeless. That's the category. That's the whole thing, is we want to make sure that you have a home. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take care of the need, the necessities, and then we'll go through the wants, and we'll try and get as many wants as we can for your budget and what's available. Maybe you can afford all that. We had somebody this week, Alani and I were working together with somebody. They could afford their wants, but there wasn't that many houses available that they could look at because that's just what was on the market. So, we gotta weigh those too. It's not like we were like, okay, there's 50 bazillion houses on the market. No, there's only a couple thousand for the entire county. And when you consider the entire county is about the size of Connecticut, it's a really big size area for just about, I think there's about 2,500 houses on the market right now. So, okay. So you're going to go ahead and get pre-qualified and pre-approved. How do you do that? Well, first thing you're going to do is contact one of the local lenders, if not more than one. Can you contact more than one lender? Yes. Should you contact more than one lender? Yes. I would say even contacting 2 or 3 would be a good place to do. And even the lenders, they know that's what you're doing. Now, as you get through the process and you are working with the lender you selected, you're only going to want to work with that lender. Okay. But as you're kicking the tires basically and trying to figure everything out, um, you want to check a couple of different companies. Okay. It's very, 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 very important that you go ahead and shop for those rates and shop for those lenders and make sure that the fees and everything are on. I have some flowers up here and one of the petals just fell off and it scared me. So anyway, but you're going to want to shop around. Okay. Is that going to hurt your credit? No, not necessarily. As long as you are not shopping for a car, a house, and a new credit card, you should be just fine. Okay. You just need to adjust the house. Once you start the process though, consider your assets frozen. Okay. They're frozen. You are not going to use your credit card. You're going to go ahead. I actually have told people, take a bowl of water, plunk the credit cards right in there, or debit cards or whatever, plunk them right in there, freeze it, okay? And do not thaw until you have the keys in your hand. That does not mean day of closing. That means keys in your hand. Do not go shopping for a car. Don't even go to a car lot. Do not go to a car lot. Do not go anywhere near a car lot. And even online, don't do it. Don't do it. Do not give your social security number to anybody for any reason at all whatsoever. I have had a few times, I will have this discussion with somebody and they will go through the buying process. And I thought we were on the same page and we are all set. And then they're like, at the day of closing, the lender comes in and says, you no longer qualify for this house. We're like, how did that happen? How could that possibly happen? Didn't you check? Yeah, we did, but you just bought $7,000 worth of furniture. And they're like, no. That's 90 days, same as cash. No. It's 90 days, same as cash is still going to be considered a credit type thing because you're not actually paying cash for it. You're using your credit to get approved for that furniture. And because you use your credit to do that, it now has put that amount of $7,000 into your debt, and your debt is higher than what your income can pay. That's the debt to income ratio that they used. So if you have 50% of debt of your income, and now you're trying to add more debt, which is what a mortgage is, they're going to say, we can't do that right now. I'm sorry. You can no longer buy this house. Please don't be that person. Because then you end up with $7,000 worth of furniture for your new house and you don't have the new house. So don't do that. Now, a couple of days after closing, when you are no longer getting a financial colonoscopy or under a microscope or whatever with the financial institution of your choice, yes, go shopping, go knock yourself out. Absolutely. But you cannot do it while they are reviewing every aspect of your financials to make sure that you qualify for the mortgage. Does it make sense? Okay, cool. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Just go ahead and put it in the chat. I am not seeing anything. Hi, this is the chat. Oh, good grief. I just put something in and all of a sudden a whole slew of stuff came through. So sorry, you guys. You must think I'm like ignoring you, but it just didn't show up. All right. Anthony says, how much income do you have to have in order to get a $200,000 loan? That is a fantastic question. We're going to have Caitlin answer that as soon as she joins us. Any of the finance type questions is not in my wheelhouse. I am a realtor, so that means I get to go and open a door and fill in the blanks on a contract and help the process along. Make sure you have all the resources you need, make sure that you have all the contacts you need. But the financing is not actually through the realtor, it is through the lender. So, and I wanted to make sure that I had a lender on here. So it helps. All right, Caitlin. She's probably going, when is Sandra going to call me? I'm not. I emailed you. Okay. Not seeing here at all on here. Okay, let me see if I can. Because unfortunately, that is most definitely a Caitlin question. Which I'm not seeing. Okay. So we'll make sure when she jumps on. Actually, Eladi, can you call Caitlin? Tell her we're here. We're here. All right. Once she jumps on here, she can answer some of those questions. That would be helpful. All right. Ocala sounds massive. Ocala is actually, it's a huge area. So Ocala is basically a smaller town amongst a massive county. It is very rural. So if you're coming from like a larger town, like, 300,000 people plus, this is going to be very culture shock for you. In the town itself of the city of Ocala, there's only about 60,000 residents. However, throughout the county, there's, I believe, 350,000. So yeah, more people live in the county than in the city. The city is a fairly small area. But there's actually several cities within the county. So there's Bellevue, Anthony, there's Umatilla, there's Denellen. There's just all sorts of smaller cities in between. So anyway, but yes, it is a huge area. Yeah. Eladi is seconding that option. She's over in the comments and she's like, please do not use the credit cards or buy a car. It is literally the worst thing in the world to then have to tell the buyer that I'm so sorry. The house that you are set to purchase, you are no longer qualified to purchase because of the credit card usage or whatever. So that debt to income ratio has changed. It's heartbreaking and they don't understand. Obviously they don't understand or else they wouldn't have made that mistake. So we try to have that expectation right from the start. So I have ingrained it in people's minds so much so that the day after closing, I've had a buyer, they have their keys, they're all done. And they're like, can I use my credit card to buy some gas now? And I'm like, yeah, you're done. You're good. So they didn't even want to buy a tank of gas because they were so worried that it would affect things. And that's actually better to go to that extreme than the, other where you're just using your credit cards or your finances and stuff. And yeah, you don't get to end up purchasing a home. It's kind of a pain. All right. What is the debt to income ratio that lenders look at to approve a mortgage? It does depend on the mortgage. Again, that is definitely a Caitlin question, but I can say that there's different ratios. So you have different types of loans. You have, you could do a FHA loan. You can do a conventional loan. You could do a USDA. You could do a VA. And then there's a couple others that aren't as used as often, but those are the main ones. So if you're doing a conventional, there's no, those are not like government backed. So that's a little bit more, it has a little more leeway to it. Any of the government backed, that's all readily available. I can actually send you information on that, or actually Caitlin can. So we'll make sure that she does that. But yeah, it really just depends. It really just depends on what kind of mortgage you're doing. And also some of the banks themselves, some of the lenders themselves have ratios that they want to use too. So maybe it is a conventional loan. If you go over to Truist Bank, for example, and then you go over to prime lending or guaranteed rate, it might not be the same. It might not be the same, which is another reason again that you're going to want to go to a couple of different lenders and get the numbers, because just because one bank said this does not mean that another bank would say this. I have actually had some banks turn somebody down and I take them to somebody else and they approve them. So it really just depends on the lender. And if you are, we'll say, barely approved or it's going to be difficult to approve you, there's actually some lenders that I would go ahead and recommend over others, because that's their wheelhouse, um, that is the one where they're they're just really good with helping with maybe getting the Chinoa loan, thing and stuff like that. So some of them really are great. I have actually taken I've taken my buyers that are like, I don't know if I'm going to get approved, but I don't know what I need to do. And we'll sit down together with the lender because that's terrifying. That's the scary part, is sitting down with the lender and they're like, the buyers are always thinking they're about to get told no, not just how could you, you can't buy a house. You're not even going to get a library book. You can't even borrow a library book. So, it's not like that. Okay. They're never going to be, scoffing at you or something like that. They're so happy that you came in and even asked. They're just thrilled. Okay, so it's never going to be a no. It's going to be a not yet, but here's what you need to do. And we sat down, and the lender, you pay $124 on this card by 2 weeks from now, and $56 on that card. I can go ahead and get you approved, and here's your rates. And we did, and she closed. So I know it works. But she didn't know. She knew she had to do some stuff, but she wasn't really sure what she needed to do. So it was really important that she had that information. Okay. All right. So you have your pre-qualification letter. What is the difference between a pre-qualification letter and a pre-approval letter? Any guesses? It sounds right there already. Pre-qualification letter is a real basic rundown. They're going to believe what you say as the truth. So if you put on there that you make $100,000 a year, that's, as far as they're concerned, that's they're pre-qualifying you based off of what the information you gave in. Now, a pre-approval is different. Okay, they do go ahead and run your credit on the pre-qualification. You can go ahead and get a pre-qualification, but if you have a pre-approval, that's like one step above. That's like it's a golden ticket, because that means that they've actually verified the information that you've put in your application. So they've actually got W-2s or pay stubs or whatever to actually say, yes, that person does in fact make that money that they said that they made. So we're going to approve them pending them finding a house and the house being okay. So yeah, that's a pre-approval. Pre-approval means they're actually going to take that next step and actually check over all the information. Guess which one of those most home sellers and realtors really want out of the two? Caitlin's having connection issues. Poor dear. Okay. Let me see. Let me see what I can do. Hold on one second. Okay. I'll have her call in and we'll just do it that way. We will work around this. All right. But yeah, normally a realtor or a seller, they want a pre-approval. So if you are looking to go and sell your home, no matter where in the United States or whatever that you live in, you're really going to want to see your buyers coming in with a pre-approval or proof of funds. One way or another, they have to prove that they actually can purchase the house. Okay. They have to be ready, willing, and able to purchase the house. So you have to verify that information. So it's either going to be pre-qualification, pre-approval, or proof of funds. Proof of funds is normally a bank statement or something showing that they have enough cash to close on the house. And that's a little bit easier because there's no mortgage involved and it does go a little bit faster. Here in Florida, if you are paying with cash, you can close in as early as a week. That's a little bit painful because you still want to do an inspection and stuff. I don't recommend doing a week, but 2 weeks is perfectly reasonable for that because you don't have to wait for the lender. The lender's going through everything on the house and you and everything, and then some. It's going to take about 30 days if it's a conventional. If it's a VA, FHA, or USDA, it's going to take a little bit extra time because there's a little bit more steps involved because it is government backed. So that's going to be about 45 days. So, and we're not talking from when you start looking, okay? That's from when you actually have a contract where both parties have signed. So you as the buyer have signed it, the seller has signed it. That's your first day, that's your effective date. It's going to be 45 days from that. So that's why when somebody comes in and they're like, okay, I need to be in a house in 30 days. I want to do a USDA loan, and I haven't even started looking at houses yet. I'm like, okay, that can you get more time? It's not because I don't want to go show houses. It's just that's not enough time because you need 45 days for the contract. And we don't want you to pick a house that is not going to be right for you because you're in a hurry. So we want to make sure that that's not what we're doing. Okay, we don't want you to make a decision because you're in a hurry. You're going to make the wrong choice or you're going to feel rushed. It's going to be a panic type situation. You should never purchase your home in a place of fear. Okay. You're fearful because your lease is expiring. You're fearful because you're going to run out of time. You're fearful because you don't have enough money. You don't want to approach it in a place of fear. It is one of the largest purchases you're ever going to make. Make sure that you have time to do that. I love it when people call me up and they're like, all right, I'm going to move there in about 6 months. I know that's a ways down the road. Can you still work with me? I know it's not going to be right away. That's okay. We love it. Call me 6 months to a year in advance. That's totally and completely okay. Because then we know exactly how we're going to set up your timeline so everybody is happy. Okay. So you have plenty of time to sell your home and wherever you're coming from or retire or whatever it is that you're doing. And we also have time to go and shop and show you houses. It's just so much easier, so much better. Much prefer having somebody that has extra time as opposed to not enough time because then we're stressed out just trying to make sure that you get what you need. So you're, again, not in a homeless situation. That is not fun. So you can have all the money in the world, but if you cannot get that house closed, you're still going to be in a homeless situation. So let's not do that. All right. So where are we in the process? You are not looking for a house yet. You are playing around on Zillow. Totally, completely fine. We are happy with you playing around on Zillow right now. Do not fall in love with a house on Zillow yet. That is a stipulation. But checking out houses, seeing which ones you like and you don't like and all of that, totally fine. Just no falling in love. You're going to get your pre-approval letter or proof of funds figured out. If you are one of the few people in the world that has a proof of funds or a bank account that is considerably more than the house you're purchasing, that is completely and totally fine. Do not send me that though, please. Don't do that. I don't want to send somebody that you're buying a $250,000 house a proof of funds with $1 million in it. Why? Why would I not want that? Because then when I ask them for repairs or if I ask them for, a lower price or something like that, they're going to go, she's got $1 million. She can pay for it or he can pay for it or whatever. That's not what I want. Just because you have that money does not mean that you're going to pay it on this purchase. So it helps me with negotiations if you have something that just shows that you have enough to close on a house. So what you're going to do in circumstances like that for everybody that maybe just sold their home in California or something and they have, excess in the bank, then you're going to go ahead and take and open a separate account that is just for the house. And you're going to put that money in that account. And that's the proof of funds that you're going to send me just for that one account. And it's going to be just enough to pay for the house and maybe the closing costs in there. Okay. So that's your house fund. You're just going to separate that. Whatever other money you have, I don't need to know. They don't need to know. It's nobody's business but your own. I don't need to see all of your assets. I need to see that you have sufficient funds to actually purchase the home. Okay. All right. You now have that done. Now is the fun part. We get to go shopping. You have sat down with us. You have told us of your needs, a house, roof. You've told us your wants, a pool, an outdoor kitchen, whatever. And we're going to then go and do a search, and we're going to try and find you the house that has all of your needs and wants in your budget. Okay. We know what your budget is because we've got the proof of funds, pre-approval, whatever. We know exactly how much you have. Okay. We've talked about the closing cost involved. We've talked about all of that. We're now going to go ahead and move towards actually purchasing a home. That's when we're going to go shopping. That's our favorite part. That's where we get to play HGTV agent and go out and look at all of these different houses. And there's going to be some crazy houses. There's going to be some ups. There's going to be some downs. We are on this roller coaster together at this point. We're both strapped in. There's no getting off, but at least we're together. Okay. So, and we've been on the ride a dozen times. So if not a lot more than that. So it's cool. Don't panic. We will get through this. Some of the houses are going to be not like they are in the pictures. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They're not. Some of them are going to explain the difference between pictures and reality, as opposed to like pictures, you cannot smell what the carpet smells like. Reality is you're going to smell that they have 6 dogs. So very, very different from pictures, reality. This is when we also stop using Zillow. Do not do it. Do not. Do not send me stuff that you found on Zillow. Why? Because I'm doing a very specific search for you. Okay, very specific. Your wants, your needs, and it's going to be in your budget. Okay, so if you tell me your budget is $300,000 for a house, and I look and maybe I've even like 310. You go, no, I told you 300,000 is the most I want to spend for a house. Okay, no problem. And then we're searching, we're sending you, does this house, do you like that house? Whatever, let's go take a look at this one. And then you send me a $350,000 house on Zillow. There's going to be some choice words. I'm not going to say them to you, but in my head, they're going to be very loud. Don't do that. It happens all the time. We'll have somebody say, I don't want the Shores, or I don't want Marion Oaks. And then a week in, when we're sending them, if you tell us no on something, we're going to do no, then you're going to send us a house off Zillow. Wow, this is a really great deal. Why didn't you send it to me? Don't do it. So that right there, a large portion of that is why realtors absolutely detest Zillow, is because it does allow you to go shopping like crazy, but it also drives us crazy. So feel free to stop using it at that point. We're going to send you plenty of houses. You can also go on our website, which is GreatExpectationsRealty.com, and that's a direct feed into the current MLS listings. Because it's a direct feed, it's called an IDX, Zillow does not necessarily have a direct feed. Zillow waits until it hits, and then they pull it from there and put it on their website. Well, during that pull, it can take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours. So you see it just hit Zillow. Everybody else has already been doing showings for 48 hours. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but when you're actually seeing, you've been waiting for the house and it hits the market, and everybody's gone out there and already seen it, and they're putting in offers, and now 48 hours later, you've seen the house, the one, it's your dream home, it's perfect, it's in your budget, you are now too late. Do you see how irritating it is? So you want to get into that IDX feed. You want to have a direct feed to it. Also on ours, if you go in and you put a little heart by the houses that you like or you're interested in, we can see it on our end, and we can, okay, that one's the one she likes. Let's go ahead and set up showings for this, or we can go ahead and add that to the list, or, oh, I see why I see why that one is liked because of the kitchen, but it doesn't necessarily have the yard. Let me see if I can find something similar. So we're going to take that into account and kind of go from there. Hmm. Okay, so um, Caitlin, poor, poor Caitlin. She can see, she can't comment, she can't do anything. Okay, her call me. Poor Caitlin. She's like, I can't get in. I'm stuck. So anyway, once she calls me, then I'm going to put her on speaker, and then we can actually have a little more of a discussion. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to go look at houses. We're going to try and do it at your leisure. It's kind of hard because we have to make sure that the seller says. Sometimes you're like, okay, I want to go and see this house now, and then the seller's like, I want 48 hours notice. I just had one of those last week. So we're going to try to work around your schedule first and make sure it's also going to work with the seller as well. Vacant houses, yeah, we'll show you those all day long. But when it's a seller and they have kids or pets or babies or something like that, maybe they have somebody elderly or something, that's where it gets a little different. All right. Caitlin. There we go. All right, you're on speakerphone. We're gonna see if this works. Okay. All right. So we had some questions in here. I don't know. Can you guys hear Caitlin? Is this gonna work? Say hi to everybody.
Hello.
I think it'll work. All right. We'll see. We just rigged this all so weird. Anyway. Okay, so Caitlin, Christine has some really good questions. Christine and Kristen in here. Let's go back and hit those up before I go past the shopping for houses thing. And Anthony actually had some questions. Man, we've got questions in here like crazy. All right, so Anthony Flores asked, how much income do you have to have in order to get a $200,000 loan? What's that?
What was the price you said? 200,000?
Yeah, 200,000.
For 200,000, it honestly it varies because we have to put debt to income, debt against your income. So if you have a car payment, it's going to be against your income. So if you make, we'll just ease of numbers. If you make $2,000 and you have a $500 car payment, your income would only be like $1,500 was what we could include.
Does that make sense? Okay.
So there's a ratio.
Yeah. Which goes into the next question. What is the debt to income ratio that lenders look at to approve a mortgage? I know it varies between them, but
it does, yeah.
Basically.
On any and all of the programs, we can't go over 50%.
Okay. So that's a good, do not go above this.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's different, and if your debt to income's better, you might have a little bit better interest rate, and everything varies, but 50% is a good. We're not going over no matter what.
Okay, so is debt actual debt, like credit card debt and loans and stuff like that, or is it all of your monthly payments, like rent and stuff as well?
So there's two ratios. So you have a front end ratio. That's going to be your credit cards, your car payments, personal loans, any kind of that type of debt. And then your back end ratio is going to include that mortgage payment. The back end ratio cannot go over 50%.
Okay, gotcha. And the front end has a little more leeway?
Yeah, I mean, the front end, it kind of affects the back end. Most people don't look at the front end. It's just, if it's high, it's going to affect your back end a lot. So.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let's see. What other questions? Christine asks, is closing cost a percentage of the mortgage, or how is that determined?
Closing cost is affected by there's a lot of things that go into closing cost, to include like your insurance payments for the rest of the year, your interest rates for the rest of the month, or your interest rates payment for the rest of the month, your taxes. So we usually give a percentage out, like how much it's going to be, but it honestly just varies per house to house.
Gotcha.
If you have better taxes, you're living in a smaller city, it's going to be lower, so on and so forth.
Okay, so all of the above.
Yeah.
Okay. Christine, if you like, we actually have a closing cost analysis for both sellers and buyers. It's like a breakdown. It's estimated, but it's pretty accurate. I've gotten it as close as I think $80. So it was like, this is what I told him it was. And then by the time we got to the closing tables, I was only off by $80. So it's pretty accurate. I'm going to go with
That's
that.
good. Yeah,
It's pretty good, right?
yeah.
So,
It's
I
hard
mean,
to
you know,
estimate everything. So
yeah.
insurance, it's all different for per house.
And then you give them, when they get their pre-approval, do you give them an estimate then?
An estimate of what their closing costs?
Yeah.
I absolutely can. Yeah, it's something I can give them right off the bat. And I like to tell them their pre-approval as well.
Right. So just right from the start, you're going to get a pre-approval letter, which is what we use. It's just kind of you're pre-approved for X amount. And then you can actually start getting your estimate of closing costs and stuff right there. But if you want to get the estimate of all closing costs, like I have like the survey in there, I have the home inspection, I have like literally everything that it's going to cost from start to finish. That's all in a Excel spreadsheet basically that I did. So it's got the seller up on the top, and then the buyer, and then I normally have 2 or 3 different price ranges. So like I'll put one house is 250,000, 275,000, and 300,000. That way you're seeing what the breakdown is. And if I got with like Caitlin and we took it one more step further, we could actually go ahead and figure out what your monthly payment would be as well. I can't give out that information because I am not a licensed mortgage broker or lending officer. She could. So it would have to be both of us working to get that information for you, but we can. But that's something I don't like put on my website because it varies and it changes depending on what kind of mortgage you're going to get and what kind of house you're going to get. Is it in an HOA? I mean, it really, really depends. But we do include it anytime somebody goes to make an offer so they understand what they're doing and exactly what it's going to cost them. I mean, you got to know how much money you need in your pocket and how much money you need before you go shopping for a house, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, now we have more questions. Hi, Ingrid. Says, hello, Andrea. Is it possible to apply for a mortgage if I live outside of Florida? What's the process? I'm renting and we are first-time homebuyers. Okay. Caitlin, that's you.
All right. So if you're planning to move to Florida, we have to have some type of income to get you approved for a house for obvious reasons. So if you are getting a job in Florida, we can take an offer letter with how much you're making and what hours you're expected, and we can use that as income to buy a house here in Florida.
That does not mean you now have to work there for 30 years. It's just an offer letter. It means that you can qualify as an employee to work here, and here's the proof.
Yeah, I have to have some kind of income. Even though you're moving, we have to have some proof that you're going to be making money for
something. Yeah, sufficient to pay the mortgage. So yeah. It used to be you had to have like 6 months or a year of actual income coming in, but that's not the case anymore, right?
No, we can take letters from your future employer in Florida if you're living out of state and get you qualified with that.
Yeah, I had a buyer ask me once. He had 2 offer letters from 2 different companies, and he knew he was going to go to one of them, but he wasn't sure which one. So he used the offer letter to go ahead and purchase a home. And then he calls me and he's like, I decided on the other company, but is that going to like destroy my mortgage? And do I have to work there for 30 years? And I was just like, what? No, wait, what? No. So you're not signing a life sentence.
The life of the loan is how you have to work.
Yeah. I was like, oh. So, he was signing his life away. I was like, no,
he was
ready. He was ready to do anything. And he loves his house. But yeah, it's just during that financial, you don't want to be changing jobs while you're in that financial microscope. We're going to say it the nice way.
I like that.
You are under the financial microscope for that time frame from the time that you originally apply until you have the keys, not closing day, the day you have your keys, and then maybe one day after. Okay. You are under the microscope. So just be really careful during that time frame. Past that, life happens. Okay. Your debt's going to change in the next 30 years. Your life is going to change. It's fine. Fair? Yeah. Okay. For Ingrid, I would say definitely get in touch with a lender such as Caitlin over at Guaranteed Rate, because they're actually going to probably need to go over some of those grant programs if you're a first-time home buyer. Caitlin, how long do you have to be a resident of Florida before you can get a first-time home buyer grant or loan?
I honestly can't say I've ever had to look that up or had that question, but I can definitely look it up and get back. I can drop my or since I can't comment, you can drop my information or get the information, and I will follow up with whoever I need to follow up with. I don't want to give out information because I have no idea. I know a specific contact years for those qualified professions. You have to be in a profession in Florida for a year before you can get that loan.
Okay.
But as far as the other ones, I'm not.
It just depends.
Act like I know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, that was really a mean question of me because I know each house that we look at in MLS or whatever, I can click down payment resource button and it'll pull up all of the different down payment assistance programs for that one specific house. And it can be anywhere from 15 different programs to like, I've seen 36 programs. That's the most I've ever seen.
Yeah, I only know the hometown here is because I just looked it up recently. I haven't even looked up. And yes. So I honestly don't even want to act like I know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. It really just depends on the program and stuff. But there are down payment assistance programs, but those primarily are going to be for if you're already a resident of Florida. You do not have to be a resident of Florida in order to apply for a mortgage, though. Okay. Kristen asks, what lending company are you from, Caitlin? We have a pre-approval, but we're looking for another company. Well, that's nice. Okay, that works.
I work for Guaranteed Rate.
Okay, so Guaranteed Rate is one of our favorites. And in fact, we've sent so many people over to them to take care of them as if they were family that they actually opened an office in the same building. Not the same office as us, but the same building. We're now next door. So I see Caitlin all the time now. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. So it works really well. Caitlin, I'm going to go ahead and put your phone number up here so they can get in touch with you. Hopefully you don't mind your cell phone number going out to the internet because it's about to go out.
No,
okay.
It's everywhere now.
You're like, we should have talked about that. There you go, guys. Okay, so we've got Caitlin and her phone number, and Guaranteed Rate is the company that she works at. And if you come to our office and you're like, hey, I want to go house shopping, but I need to get pre-approved, I'm going to walk you like next door anyways. Like, let me check and see who's in there. Because they're just really great in there. All right. So I think we're caught up. Oh, no, Christine asked, Andrea, what is the best time of year / month to purchase a home in Ocala? Trying to plan and stay away from the super busy times. It depends. It depends on if you're going to be purchasing, like if you're going into a all ages community or if you're going into a 55 plus community. Completely different. They're flipped. So it depends on your situation. If it's 55 plus, we're just coming out of the busy season. The same with horse farms. If you're looking for an equine community or mini farms or something like that, we're just coming out of our busy season for that as well, because we're on the circuit for horses in the sun, and that lasts for months. So that's the busy season for that. We're starting, summertime is the slow season for those. If you are a parent with kids and you're moving down here, summertime is the busy season because all the kids are out of school up north or wherever you guys are coming from. And so they're wanting to move while their kids are in between grades. So it really depends. Kristen says, thank you. I'll be in touch. Oops. She says, you may have missed my question earlier about if I don't see anything. Probably did. It's a lot. Like there was something with the chat today. Sorry, guys. I was sitting there going, "How come nobody's asking any questions at all?" And then all of a sudden, whew, I was like, "Oh, that's so not good." Oh, okay. Kristen did ask a question earlier that I missed. Sorry. How does the financing go with a manufactured home on a private piece of land? That is an excellent question.
It depends on what program. Honestly, if every program has different stipulations for manufactured homes. So FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, they're all different, and what can be approved and what financing you can get for manufactured homes.
And there's actually some lenders that will not loan with manufactured homes. Guaranteed Rate does do manufactured homes, but even they have some stipulations as well. I think, what's the oldest one that you guys will do?
It's like 1974. It's something random like that. It's like 1974, 1976, something.
Okay, so if the manufactured home is older than I am, you're good. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Okay.
It's like a super random. It doesn't. I was like, I don't know how they came up with this number, but here we are.
So yeah, if it's older than that, gonna go with no. That's gonna be difficult. Also, it depends on how many times it's moved. Just to let you know, I've come across that one before. They're like, this has been moved twice. You're out. Strike through. You're out. I'm like, really? But apparently, it's a lot of wear and tear on manufactured homes when they are moved, and if you do it multiple times, they will not. They will not do it. I don't think you can get insurance on it either, but I don't have an insurance person to answer that one today. So yeah. So let's see. Yeah, if you buy a manufactured home on private land. Now, if you buy a manufactured home not on private land, if it is in a mobile home park, that is a completely separate thing. I don't think you can get a loan through, like, you can't get a mortgage on it. That would be more of a, wow, what would that be? Like
an auto loan?
An auto loan. That would be considered an auto loan. I hear my husband from the living room. He's like, it's an auto loan. This is why I don't do Saturdays. So anyway, but yeah, manufactured homes here in Florida are registered. They have tags the same as a car does. So yeah, it's actually considered a mobile home or an RV type situation. So I don't even have a license to sell them. The only thing I can do is sell the land with the mobile home or manufactured home attached to it. I know it sounds really weird, but it's totally the truth. So you can get a mortgage as long as there's real property attached, and you can actually use a realtor. Aside from that, probably just go through the mobile home park. They normally will go ahead and sell you one of them that are attached. They have that licensing to do that. Alani actually looked it up and she's answering questions in here. Thank you, Alani. She's my backup today. So even if I like go down, she's going to keep going. All right. But she says 1978. And with FHA, it cannot be moved at all. It has to be just that one time and that's it. So yeah, installed and then move on. So, but it depends. Like if you want to do, I think USDA, you can do a USDA on it, right? On a manufactured?
You can, yeah, USDA can do manufactured.
Okay, so USDA, I know you can on VA, but they get really tough.
Yeah, they have a lot of stipulations on it. And it's just very, they're very strict on their standards.
Yeah, they are. And they're pretty strict even on site-built homes, so like frame, concrete blocks, stuff like that. All right. Miguel Ortiz asked, what is the income ratio for a USDA loan in Marion County? And Kristen also wants to know conventional.
All right. Conventional and USDA are 43% for that second ratio.
Okay, cool. For the in-depth one. Okay. Okay. So if you have over 43% or close to it, you might be told by a loan officer who looks through it that you need to pay some things down, and they'll help you. They'll tell you exactly what you need to pay down. It's really cool. All right. Sean Tube says, can a condo be used as an Airbnb during months that I wouldn't be residing in it, like May through October, HOA rules? Okay, so yes and no. As long as the condo association says you can, then yes. They'll have certain things called rules and regulations, or their documents, which are public records. So you should have that before you even go looking at them. You can see what the association rules are. Some associations will allow it. However, it has to be a minimum of 3 months. If you're going to do that, I would not in any way, shape, or form recommend Airbnb. Airbnb is more like a week, couple days, something like that. If you're going to do 3 or more months, I would go ahead and have somebody lease it for you. You can get a realtor. Please, for the love of, please make sure you get one that actually knows how to do leasing. Just because they're licensed for it doesn't mean they know how to do it. I would look at, a property manager. Normally they'll do one-time leasing if you want to just do that. But if you're going to be out of state, you might want to do a property manager anyway, so they can be there if anything happens. They can, track all that, do all that. They can do the screening, the leasing, all of that stuff. So I'd say best advice is to go ahead and get a property manager for 3 months or more. If you're wanting to do Airbnb and the association allows for it, again, you're going to want to have a property manager going in and making sure that the can opener stuff is still there, the toaster is still there, making sure that everything is clean, making sure that maintenance is being done. So just be aware there's more to it than just, I'm going to rent this out and just let it rent itself out and I'm going to put it on Airbnb, it'll be fine. That's not how it works. But yeah, if you have a property manager for it, as long as the association rules say that you can, yeah, but there's a lot of associations at this point that ban Airbnb. They don't want it. They don't want to have like party house. They don't want to have people in every other week. That's different. So yeah, more and more cracking down on that. All right. Christine asks about I think it's the debt to income ratio for VA.
VA is a little bit more lenient. Thinking it's 50-ish.
Really?
You can get away with a little bit more on VA if there's like money, credit score, and stuff like that. But yeah, we can 50 on VA for sure.
That is really interesting. So they're harder on the sellers and the house, but they're a little bit more lenient on the buyers or the veterans.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Sean, Ann says hello from California. Hello. Love our California people. They come over and they're just so bewildered. They moved to Florida from California. They're like, what in the world? It's very different. Okay, it's like a different country. It's crazy. Sean says, is homeowners insurance required on a cash purchase? No, it's not. Is it recommended? Yes, very much. I had somebody that did a cash purchase back in the day, way back in the day. During the recession, he bought a condo for, I'm going to say it was between $12,000 and $20,000. It wasn't much. And he was renting it out. And then I actually left that company and went to a different brokerage, and I wasn't allowed to take any of the properties with me. So he stayed with them. It had nothing to do with me. But while it was vacant in between tenants, there was a water leak inside. And nobody noticed it for a couple weeks. And there was mold all the way from the floor to the ceiling. The light fixtures had mold literally trickling down, and that happened in 2 weeks flat. And there was about that much water basically everywhere in the entire place. The damages were close to $40,000. That would have been taken care of with homeowners insurance. So he went to save himself a little bit of money annually, and he ended up costing him double what the condo was worth. So I would highly, highly recommend that you do go ahead and get homeowners insurance. It's worth it to be able to sleep at night. I know it's a pain in the neck, but I would highly recommend it because I've seen too much at this point. And Alani does mention, in case I forgot to mention, that yes, we do property management, which is why I said, please make sure you have wherever you're purchasing. If it is not here, if it's in an area we do not cover, please make sure that you do have a competent property manager that's doing your leasing. Every real estate agent that is used to doing sales will say that they can do leasing, but it's not a good idea. That's not a good. They need to be experienced because they can look at an application, but they won't see all of the red flags I would see if I was looking at it. So, or a lot, actually. So yeah. All right. So we're going to jump back into, I think we've caught up with the questions at the moment. So we're going to jump back into where we left off. So for the purchasing of a home here in Ocala, and I'm going to let you guys ask more questions. Feel free to just put them in there. And then when I pause, I'm going to go over and check and see what everybody's saying. So if you are now shopping for a house, and a lot of people get confused on the shopping part, I have gone to showings where the buyers attempt to get onto the roof. I'm not joking here. Go up into the attic space. That's not what we're doing. That's part of the home inspection process. What we're doing to actually do a showing is just to make sure that the house is in the area you like the neighborhood, you like the layout of the house, that the pictures are accurate, that there's no odd smells, that the backyard is, looking good, especially with those cameras, that fishtail lens or what fish hook lens, I don't know, whatever it is. It distorts, so it makes it look much bigger and brighter than it actually is. You want to walk through it yourself and make sure that what you're seeing is what you're getting and all of that. So yeah, that's what we're looking for. Once we get into a home inspection scenario, that's when we're going to look into all the nooks and crannies and all of that. Once you see a house you like, I normally recommend that you pick out 3 out of the mix. So here's my first choice, here's my second choice, here's my third choice. Why would I do that? I recommend it because I don't want you to be like, this is the one and only house I will ever purchase. I'm going to live there until I croak, and that's the end of things, and I will be heartbroken if I don't have this house. That is not what we want to do. That I know those feelings are there, but that's not what we want to do. We want to go ahead and we really like this house. This is our first choice by far. However, here's our backup decision. It gives you a lot more negotiation when you are not like, if I don't have this house, I'm going to die. Okay. I've actually had buyers tell the sellers things like that. And then they're like, okay, now negotiate 20,000 off. And I'm like, no, it doesn't happen. Okay. You literally have given up all of your negotiation. It's just, you laid all your money upon the table. There's nothing to do from there. So don't even communicate with the sellers. Just don't. It's my job to negotiate on your behalf and try and get you the absolute best deal possible. So don't tie my hand behind my back and be like, this is the only house we've ever seen, we've ever loved. This is it. No, there's a lot of houses out there, and we're going to keep going until we find the one for you. So, all right. When you're on showings, one other thing I want to let you guys know that has changed in recent years. We're going to talk a little bit about showing etiquette, I promise, really quickly. People have Ring doorbells and cameras that pick up audio constantly. I have even seen webcams on, and people, like the buyers are looking at the house. They don't realize they're being watched and listened to. So any comments that you have inside or even outside of the house, please keep them to yourself until we're back in our cars. Okay. Then you can go, oh my God, it smelled like old people in there. Whatever. I've heard so much. I really don't like this furniture. How do you think your offer is going to go when the seller is like, oh yeah, I remember them. They think I have scuzzy furniture. Yeah, just don't. Okay. We're going to go really quiet because they are watching and listening as if they're there. So even though you think it's a confidential conversation, it's not. I have had buyers actually go in and start negotiating with me. Oh, well, see if you can get like 5,000. We'll totally pay like full price, but see if you can get 5,000 less. What did the seller just hear? Don't do that. So just be really even if you don't think they're listening, okay? Especially even outside, because again, ring doorbells, all of that stuff, they're listening and they're watching. So just be really courteous, but really quiet, and definitely don't share all your negotiations out there while you're in the house, okay? And we'll remind you, I've literally like tapped a buyer on the hand and then looked over at the camera that has the light on and it's literally following us around the house. And they're like, so just, whew, it's creepy. Okay, so once you go shopping for the houses and you're like, you tell me in the car, you're like, okay, that's the one. That's the one we're gonna go ahead and do. We like number 2. That's great. Number 3 it was in the wrong school or that was too far away from work or whatever. Number 4, that's another option, but let's do it. Okay, so we've got our 1, 2, and 3. And then we're gonna write up a contract. Okay. I can send you the contract right from the start that's blank. So you're not like, oh, why is there 14 pages? Okay. It's because it used to be 4 pages long. It was great. It was a 4-page contract when I started. It's now between 12 and 14 pages. And that's because weird stuff happens in real estate. So they try and put every contingency they've ever seen on there. Like now they just recently changed it. So the ring doorbell goes to the buyer. That was a huge dispute. Some sellers were like, no, that's mine. It's going with me. And the buyers are like, that's a fixture. It's attached to the house. It's staying with the house. So now it's actually built into the contract. So there's all these things that are built into the contract now, and it's already pre-answered. So we're going to go over all that stuff. Okay. You're going to make your offer. Your offer is not just the amount of money, it's also a lot of other things. How much you can put in escrow to show that you're serious, how long you need for an inspection. Hopefully, before you go looking at the house, you've already talked to the inspectors and you've already decided on what kind of inspections you're comfortable with. There's everything under the sun. You don't need everything under the sun. You need what you're comfortable with. So all we have to do is say, okay, I got the contract, go out there and do it. And then you don't need that much time. If you haven't talked to any of them yet, we're going to have to do a longer inspection period. So it allows you for time to select your inspector. Okay, but we'll go over all that stuff. Anyway, once you do the inspection period, you have the inspection. You get to go to the inspection. You get to be there. I strongly recommend you do not talk to the inspector a lot. You can kind of check in with them once in a while. But if you're following him and trying to go up into the attic with him, he is not going to say anything against you. But it is extremely distracting. Okay. He's trying to do his job, get his things. He's going to miss things potentially on the list because he's worried you're going to fall through the attic, which is a distinct possibility. So don't do that. He's going to go up into the attic, which is 5,000 degrees in a suit, and he's going to go and play in all the insulation. All you have to do is wait until he comes out, and then you get the pictures and a lovely report, and he's going to do all of that. And he really knows what he's looking at. So just let them do that. Normally your realtor goes with you. Sometimes you're not able to go to the inspection. That's fine. The realtor will go, and you're going to get a report normally within 24 hours that has all of the pictures, all of the issues, and their recommendation of what you need to do. If it needs to be covered by an electrician or a roofer or whatever, they're going to put all that on them. Okay. Then you get to go through another slew of negotiations to try and get what is required by you fixed. So we're going to send you a piece of paper. We're going to say, what do you want? Here's your options. You can accept it as is and take care of it yourself and move on. You can go ahead and ask for the repairs to be done prior to closing. They're not going to be done like that second, but they're going to be done before closing. You can ask for a credit, which means if it needs a new roof, you're going to ask for X amount taken off of the purchase price or given to the roofer at closing so they can do it within 30 or 60 days or whatever. Or you can walk away. Those are really your only options. But that's really going to start up the negotiations. So hopefully there's no questions on that. Once you have agreed to what you like and the seller has agreed to do what you would like, do not come back the day before closing and go, well, what about that other thing I saw in the inspection report? Nope. That is your time frame for those negotiations. Prior to closing is not the time frame. Okay. Caitlin, real quick, can you talk about real briefly basics of a rehab loan or the roofing issues we've been seeing. So a lot of people ask for the roof to get done, but they don't necessarily need them before closing. Can you kind of go into it just a bit from the mortgage standpoint?
Yeah, I would try my absolute best. So a renovation
It's a huge. That's like a book that I just asked her, and she's like, "Oh Lord."
Right. So a renovation loan, it is a loan in which you are able to put cost to fix up the house into the mortgage.
Basically.
Basically. So if you, a lot of times it is used for roofs because if you don't know, Florida and roof and insurance is such a fun topic of conversation. And if you're not able to get insurance because of the roof, but you can't afford the roof, or the seller's not wanting to negotiate on that, you're able to put it into the price of the roof. You get a contractor, you get those contracts, bring it to the mortgage table, you put it in the title. It's a whole big long thing, but it is possible. It's called a renovation loan. Mm-hmm. That's essentially it. I think I covered everything I needed to.
Yeah. Okay, and then and those you can still do a reno loan with like FHA and USDA and all of that. It's like a different layer, basically, right?
Yeah, it's just another layer to any of and all of those loans.
Okay, so I have done many times. We'll need a roof done. Sometimes a roof does not necessarily mean a renovation loan. Sometimes it can be negotiated out between the buyer and the seller prior to closing. And depending on what kind of loan, and I do not remember which ones are which, but depending on what kind of loan, you can actually have that money put into escrow from the seller, from the proceeds, and then the buyer has already a contractor, has the estimate, has everything, but they just couldn't get the roof done until after closing.
Yeah, that's specific terms called escrow holdback.
Yeah. And then that's actually held by is it held by the title or by the bank? Or by the loan?
Title.
Okay.
Title has escrow.
Okay, so title will sit there and hold that until the terms of the contract have been concluded. So the buyer gets the keys, they get to move in, the seller has their money, but there's this extra amount that was agreed on by all parties. That's the amount of the estimated cost of the roof that's just sitting there. And as soon as the buyer has all of that done and their paperwork and everything's been signed off, the permit has to be closed, then that's released over to the roofer. So, and you have to make sure the roofer is cool with it because they're going to have to wait to get paid. So, key thing. We have some really good roofers who work with us, but so yeah, those things can be done. So yeah. All right. We have, oh my goodness. Sean asked, what is Paisley like? I don't know her. No. Is it safe or rural? That sounds like it's a place. I have no idea where Paisley, I'm assuming Florida is. Unfortunately, that's probably someplace on the map, and it's not. There's this place called Zuber, which always makes me laugh because it's on the map and it looks like it's this huge, massive place. There is no Zuber. There is absolutely no Zuber. There is a gas station on a street corner. There is literally nothing else there. There's not even houses out there. So I was being like, what about Zuber? And I'm like, this is not a place, but it's on every single map of Marion County I've ever seen. And the lettering is always really big. And I'm like, okay. So David, my husband, he's also a realtor. He's like, we drove through Paisley. He's like, that was in the Ocala National Forest on the way to Umatilla. That's rural. Anything in the Ocala National Forest is more trees than humans. Okay, by far, like miles of trees. One human for miles of trees. So as long as you don't like people, that would be an excellent place for you. It's not much out there. It's really not much out there. It is literally thousands of miles. And I don't know how many people live out there, but it is not many. There's not many. Very, very rural. Very, very rural. We just call it the forest. That's the forest people live over there. Small town. Yeah, so Paisley would be very, 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 very small. The fact that I've driven through it and didn't know I drove through it is kind of, yeah. So we're gonna go excessively rural. But yeah, if we drove through it, that was probably off of 42 then. So I mean, it's probably not horrifically far from the villages because that's where we came back and we ate lunch. So, but yeah, it's gonna be very rural. Like, yeah, very like no grocery store for a while. Probably a dollar store and a gas station. Maybe a little bit more than that. All right. Was that about it? What was in Paisley? Maybe
More than that, but that's a small town.
says it was more than just a gas station and a dollar store, but not by much. Okay. Um, Christine, let's see. Sean says, Alani, I'm currently working with Ingrid at Great Expectations. Awesome. Christine, when my time comes, I will try to be quiet. She's going to go in the house and try not to alert the sellers to her every thought of their house. That is awesome. Thank you so much. And if it's dirty, please, please, please don't say anything. I know it's dirty. It's okay. Just keep walking. Just keep walking. I'll get you out of there. Oh, all right. Sean, Alani would be a good name for Al, like Alexa. E-lady. Yep. Thank you, Sean. Do you have a sense of cost to get electric hooked up on a rural cabin, assuming utility is accessible? She says usually conventional. Oh, that was something else. Okay. How much for the utility? It's really going to depend on how far from the utility you are. If it's probably, I'm not explaining that well. So if you have a utility pole at the main road, because there's always a main road, go far enough, you'll find one. And there's not anything from there to where you want to put your cabin for a mile, that means they're going to have to do a mile of utility poles just for you. You are going to pay for all of that. If you are at the main road and it's already there, or you're at a road that already has utilities, and you just need to hook up, not much cost to that. It's not bad. So it really, really, really just depends. And that the same applies for internet. So if you are hoping to have internet, you're way out there, you might want to look into Starlink, and that is a thing. Caitlin's parents actually have Starlink. They're not even that far out. They're maybe 15 minutes from the World Equestrian Center and all of that stuff. But where they're at is just not, there's not enough houses to have internet out there yet. So, but they also said they wanted trees. So I got them trees. I don't know. All right. How's their internet on Starlink, by the way, Caitlin? Have you been out there?
It's okay.
It's okay.
No, it's fine. I think it works. In some parts of Marion Oaks too, it's Starlink as well. Like the farther back you get in Marion Oaks.
Yeah. So yeah, if you don't have that many houses, there's not going to be utilities, and that includes internet and electric. I mean, water you can get. You just put septic and well, and you're self-sufficient. But the rest of it, yeah, it could be excessive for that. So all right. Okay, so we have gotten to the contract stage. You guys, we're going to go, I'm not going through 14 pages worth of contract right now. You're welcome. If you do decide to go ahead and purchase a house, we're going to go all through it just so you make sure that you understand what you're getting into, what your days are looking like, all your times and everything like that. Do not panic. You are not going to have to try and remember how many days you have for every single thing. That is our job. We will go ahead and let you know. All right. You need to do this by X date. You need to do this by Tuesday. You need to do that by Wednesday, whatever. That's our job. That's part of our job is to make sure everybody's talking, make sure this is happening, that's happening, everything's happening on time. If we tell you, please turn in your documents, if Caitlin calls you and says, hey, I need this, 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 and this, and it takes you a week or two to get those documents to her, guess what is going to happen? Caitlin, what happens?
You can have a delayed closing.
Delayed closing, exactly. So when you go to close, remember I said 30 to 45 days, depending if it's, one of the acronyms or not. If you are waiting, that's if they get the documents on time. But if it takes you a week or two to get your W-2s or your taxes or something over to Caitlin, maybe she needs something else. That's going to extend that 30 to 45 day window. And now you are in default of contract because you needed to have more time, and we're going to have to negotiate an extension. So extensions do happen. Sometimes it's on the fault of the seller. Sometimes it's on the fault of the buyer. Sometimes it's nobody's fault. Sometimes it's like a hurricane or a blizzard. So it just happens. We attempt to hit the bullseye every single time, and we hit that closing date. But it is very much like playing darts. Just because you're aiming for it doesn't mean you hit it every single time. So the closing date is what we all go by and what we're trying for and striving for. That is not necessarily going to be the date. So if you are on day one of the contract and you pay for movers to come on closing date, I would recommend you wait until you're in that last stretch before you do that, to make sure there's not a lot of delay, because there is a lot of cooperation and a lot of people and a lot of moving parts to this. So you want to check with your realtor. They should be, yes, you can go ahead and schedule the movers. That, no problem. Just be very open with them as far as your timelines so that they can help you achieve those timelines. Oh, yeah. Okay, so throughout the process, the entire time, Caitlin is going to be calling you up and bugging you for paperwork and signatures. And so, I mean, that's accurate, right, Caitlin? I'm not being mean on you, right?
No, that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I definitely talk to people every other day.
Yeah, it's going to be an ongoing process. It's not like, okay, I did my application, now I'm ready for closing a month later. It is not like that. It is not like that. There is.
No, we're definitely best friends by the end of the transaction.
You really have to like your loan officer, because y'all are going to be chatting a lot. Okay. Underwriters, I swear, I
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you on that one. I promise.
Sometimes I really wonder what on earth they're doing. But yes, nothing but love for you underwriters out there. But y'all, sometimes I think of you as trolls under bridges when you drive me nuts. Okay, I know it's like a love-hate relationship. I know you need the thing, and I'm trying to get you the thing, but why are you asking for the thing? Because I don't really think you need the thing. Just get the paperwork. Once you go ahead and you're past the inspection period, you're then at that point going to say to Caitlin, I need to go ahead and get the appraisal. Why would you wait until after the inspection report? Because if the inspection comes through and you're like, wow, this house is about to fall in on itself, you do not want to have paid for the appraisal because you do not get that money back. So just wait. Okay, we're going to do a really short inspection period. And I know, Caitlin, you probably love to get the appraisal paid for like sooner rather than later so you can get it scheduled. But I always ask them to wait until after the inspection, because it's like,
I was going to say, I mean, we do like to get the appraisal because they do schedule a few weeks out, but the inspection before it's important because you don't want to get in and have paid all this money for no reason.
Absolutely. Do you know what appraisals are running these days on an average?
I just ordered an FHA one for $550.
Okay, so yeah, about what I was thinking. So about $550, give or take. It also kind of depends on if there's like 6 buildings attached, the appraisal is going to be more. It's going to be more. If it's all the way out in the wilds, you are probably going to be paying more because there's probably no appraisers out in Paisley, Florida. So they're going to have to trek themselves on out there. They're going to be charging extra for that gas. Sorry. So $550 is a good average price, I guess. All right. So once you have the appraisal back, which the appraisers are going to take some time to get scheduled, but once they get it out there, it's normally within a few days. We get the appraisal back. It may be a negotiation at that point. We're like, hey, your house didn't appraise. We need X amount off the contract. If you're not seeing it, there's multiple places where we negotiate on your behalf. It's not just the price. The price it could fluctuate throughout the whole thing, maybe for inspection things or the appraisal or all sorts of stuff, a roof because of home insurance. And that brings us to survey and home insurance. About that time, once you've got the appraisal back and it's good, the inspection was good, that's where it's a nice, okay, Now we move on towards closing. You're going to need a survey. If you're getting a mortgage, you need a survey. If you're doing cash, you don't. I still recommend you get a survey. Survey is great. If you ever decide to put a shed on your property, if you ever decide to fence the property, if you have fencing already, you're definitely going to want to have a survey, because that fencing may be on the neighbor's property, and then they tell you you have to take it down or move it or something, and now you're out several $1,000s. It's just always good to have the survey. Okay, personal recommendation. If you have a mortgage, you have to get a survey. It's not even a question. The title company will also be contacting you throughout you're going to have a lot of people calling you. It's just a lot of moving parts, and you're going to want to go ahead and get your home insurance quotes, and you're going to go ahead and get your home insurance lockdown. I forgot what it's called, but you're going to go ahead and bind it. Thank you. That other word. It's been a long day already. But you're going to go ahead and bind your insurance. You're going to let Caitlin know this is the insurance company I'm using. Title company will know, got your insurance company. If you have a home warranty that you're purchasing on your home, you're going to want to go ahead and get all of that figured out before closing. So you got it all figured out. But then you pretty much just move towards the closing date. Closing, you're going to either the day before or the day of, I especially like day of, you're going to go and do what we call a walkthrough. You're going to literally walk through. Again, this is not a home inspection. You're not going to go up in the attic. You're not going to go on top of the roof unless there was an issue and you want to make sure that that was fixed. They should have already seen you pictures and invoices and all that. But anyway, we're not going to go. This is not like a 2-hour process. You're going to walk through and make sure that everything that you asked was taken care of. Make sure that the ceiling is still where the ceiling is, that the place hasn't flooded or burned down. Once you've actually said, okay, yep, this is what I thought I was getting, I'm good. And you go ahead and go to the closing. Closing, y'all, I'm not joking, it's going to take about three hours for the closing. I normally recommend to just knock out a morning or an afternoon or whatever, go have lunch, do the closing, go through all the documents. It's a process. So it's not a very, very quick, like the only time it's quick is if you're doing cash. That's much quicker. When you're doing a mortgage, I don't know, how many pages are in a mortgage package? Do you know, Caitlin? Like,
I was going to say, most our closings are like, we do 50% electronic and then 50% in paper.
Oh, that's much nicer.
So, I mean, you're still signing a lot. Don't get me wrong, your hand's still going to hurt, but it's definitely a lot less. Like, I had a closing yesterday and it was about an hour. We were at the in and out in an hour.
And that's when they've already filled out half the paperwork.
They've signed it, DocuSigned, electronically signed 50% of it.
Nice. Very nice. Each page, they're going to explain it to you what you're signing. So, you know, they're, for women, it gets funny because they'll be like, okay, how many other names have you had? So if you've had maiden names or something like that, we tend to change our names frequently sometimes in our lives. So they actually have to sign something stating that, yes, they have been known as this, or this is your legal name now, correct? You know, stuff like that. It's kind of funny. But yeah, there's literally a piece of paper for everything. You are also, before you go there, you're going to get documents 3 days before at least from Caitlin or your loan officer, whoever you decide to use. That it's normally, they're doing it before. They're doing it more than 3 days before, aren't they? I saw one like 10 days before. It's crazy.
Okay, I try to get mine out quickly because it tells you which money you have to bring to the closing table, and that's usually what people want to know. So
yeah. So your closing, they changed the law several years ago now. It used to be I would go to a closing table and they would have absolutely no idea what their final numbers were or how much they were supposed to bring to the closing table. So they would, they'd write out a check or they'd have to run to the bank really quick to complete closing. And there were so many complaints because they didn't feel like they really had sufficient time to review the numbers. And these are really, really important numbers. These are 30 years of numbers. So they changed the law. So the bank or the lending company has to provide the documents at least 3 days before closing. but you guys, normally they're getting them out like 10 days before or something like that. So you'll have plenty of time to review them, ask questions, and truly understand what is going on before you get to the closing table. Okay. So when you get to the closing table, it's no longer just writing out a personal check or something. Normally, the title companies want you to wire the funds in from your bank account. It's super easy, super easy, and then you're not walking around with like $10,000 or something crazy in a money order or cashier's. They're not doing that anymore. So you go to your bank, and you have to be careful because sometimes wire fraud and stuff. So call your title agent while you're at the bank and say, I am so and so. I am here to wire my closing funds to you. Can you please confirm the numbers and the amount for me before I wire this? And then you're done. Okay. You can do that right at the bank. It's awesome. Sometimes there's a fee from your bank, sometimes there's not, but just check with that. It's minimal, maybe 30, 35 bucks, something like that. It just depends on the bank. Some of them do it for free. You're going to wire that. So when you come to the closing table these days, you don't have to bring funds. It's already been done. So we try and make it as easy and seamless as possible. When you get to the closing table, you just wait around for the keys. As soon as your funds have hit the bank at the title company goes and gives you the keys. They're the ones that give you the keys. Okay. I think that's about it. That is start to finish 30, 45 days of the process. Okay. Any of those grants, any of those down payment assistance programs, each one of them has different stipulations. Caitlin or your loan officer, whoever is that, they're going to help you with that process as well. So if you're doing like the SHIP program, which is City of Ocala does that. If you're doing USDA loan, if you're doing a VA loan, if you are doing the Hometown Heroes program, they're anything with money being loaned to you or given to you is going to go through your loan officer. Is that fair? Caitlin's like, thanks for throwing me into that bus. So yeah, I mean, that's her issue. That's her. that's that hat. Okay. My hat is the house. And that doesn't mean I'm doing the home inspection. I'm not doing the home inspection, but I will get you a list of home inspectors. So I just help coordinate the whole process. So it's great. So don't freak out. You're not going to have this huge, overwhelming process. Just snag a realtor and be like, okay, this is what I need, and this is what I want. And they'll just walk you through the process. Okay. All right. Sean says, do you have a sense of, we went through that one. Alani was answering those. She thinks it's about 200 pages that you have to do for the closings. She's had a lot of closings, I think, the last week or two. So she's seen a lot of those closings documents come through on the final end. If guaranteed rate already does like 50% of the documents elsewhere, then yeah, Caitlin would know. What we see is normally it looks about the size of an old phone book. And it's very intimidating, kind of scary, but you don't have to sign everything. Some of it's for the seller, some of it's just information that needs to go in the packet to the bank and whatever. But yeah, your hand will get tired by the time you're done. And your realtor will normally be at the closing table with you, in case you're wondering. So it'll be your realtor, possibly the seller's there, the title agent explaining what it is she's asking you to sign. You'll already have gotten all of your mortgage information from your loan officer before that and gone over all of that with them. Sometimes loan officers do actually show up to the closing as well, especially if you're nervous. If this is your first time or whatever, then you'll have like Caitlin or whoever, actually showing up with you as well. So you'll have a lot of people holding your hand if you need it. You are not alone on this process, because it's a roller coaster ride sometimes. It absolutely is. I mean, the stuff that it's just crazy. So, all right. What other questions do we have? You guys feel like you know how to purchase a home a little bit better now? I know it kind of went all over the place, but basically, if nothing else, just ask. I mean, we're great with answering questions. So just ask. We're good with that. Your loan officer, your realtor, the home inspector, just ask questions. Enjoy the ride. That's the main thing. Some people get so addicted they end up buying lots of houses. they're roller coaster addicts. I don't know. But the more you do it, the more you'll be comfortable with it. But definitely just enjoy the ride. It's supposed to be an enjoyable experience. It really is. It can be sometimes problematic depending on, maybe the house is just not been taken care of, or maybe there's surprises like it has major termite damage or something like that. But the whole process as a total, going from I think I want to buy a home to here's your keys, it should be a good process. So, all right. I don't see any other questions. Do you guys have any other questions in here? Let me see if I think that's about it. The last one I saw was Alani's comment. Did I miss anybody? We're good. Oh, Miguel down here says, so the first step would be to get a pre-approval. Yes, I would say you can go ahead and talk to a realtor first. It really doesn't matter if you talk to a loan officer first or a realtor first. But if you don't know who to call for even getting started, I would say contact a realtor first. There are a lot of companies that I would not recommend. I know that sounds really sad and scary. I don't put companies out there. If I don't like them, I don't like their service. I've seen how they have really done damage to people. I won't talk about them. I absolutely will not put them on my show. I won't, like, nothing. But if they are a good company, somebody that has really helped a lot of people, then I'm going to promote those. So again, I don't get anything from like Caitlin. Caitlin's not paying me for this. I just say, Caitlin, I got to do a home buyer workshop, and I know they're going to be asking me lender questions. Can you help me out? That's it. That's all this is. And she's like, absolutely no problem. I got you. So, I would send somebody to her. I would send somebody to Guaranteed Rate. I would send somebody to Prime Lending. I would send somebody to a lot of different companies that are awesome. Also, if it's a local company, like they actually have an office, I can go hunt them down and be like, where are we at here? We need to have a one-on-one. We're going to chat, okay? That's different than if it's somebody in Tennessee that is licensed for Florida. I don't know where they are. They treat you differently. It's just differently. If they're in Utah or New York or something, and they're like, I literally at one point told somebody in Georgia I was going to come visit their office. So bad. So I want them local. Okay. So they know I may show up because if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing at the time that they're supposed to be doing it, they could expect a visit, because that's my job, is to keep everything moving right along, So yeah, I like local lenders. Other realtors, when you put a pre-approval from a local lender that they know that has a stamp of approval from that lender and they know that lender, that's awesome. If you get a printed form from online, that is sometimes not worth the paper it's written on. Just because you're pre-qualified or pre-approved with them, they have done no due diligence whatsoever, and it may not go to closing. We know that. So when offers come in, we're going to look at this company that we know is problematic, and this company over here that a buyer has that is a local lender that we know is awesome. We're going to go to that offer, of course, depending on the terms and other stuff. But those, if it's equal, it's going to be the one that we know is going to get the job done. Okay, so it is extremely important to get somebody that is known and has a good reputation. It really is. It can make or break whether you get a house even. So let's see. Christine says, Andrea, thank you for all your weekly updates. You're welcome. It has definitely helped me to feel a little less intimidated and more knowledgeable about the process. You are so welcome, Christine. Thank you so much for watching. It's definitely very encouraging when you guys watch. And if all y'all could just do me one slight favor and just share those videos to somebody you think it might help, that would be so helpful. So share it. Just share. Just real quick. Just share any of them. Kristen says, how should I get my email to you to receive the home buyers packet? Go ahead and send an email. You can go ahead and send an email. Actually, since Aladi is right there, it's aladifonseca3@gmail.com. send one over and she'll sit there and send them all day long if you want it. So any of the stuff I talked about, she can send you the home buyer's guide. She can send you all of the schools in Marion County. She can send you the net sheet. That's what we call it. That's how much money you're going to need to bring or to have in order to close on a house, any of that. So, and then she can also get you Caitlin's information as well. So if you want to contact Caitlin, I think we put Caitlin's phone number up there. Eladi, will you put your email in the chat and also your phone number? I'm giving out everybody's phone number today. She's like, oh, yeah, that'd be good. Christine. Oh, thank you, Christine. I appreciate it. I really do. Somebody came in from Miami. He did actually move here and he bought a house and everything, which was really cool. But he goes, yeah, we have watch parties down in Miami when you come on and we watch it on the big screen. And I'm like, I can't even imagine what that would look like. I'm like, I don't even have makeup. I have like mascara on today. I just did a 5K this morning. So I'm like, I can't. Can you imagine yourself on a big screen? Somebody's just watching. Oh my goodness. Yeah. All right, Eladi. Did she put it up there? All right, I'm going to get some of it. All right, I'm putting Eladi's email if I know it from memory. I don't know what she's probably on the phone. 3@gmail.com. There we go. That's Eladi's. Just send her a message and then she'll just email it over to you. She's my person today. And Caitlin, I'm going to go ahead and put, Caitlin, I don't know what your email is. I'm going to put your phone number again, okay? Caitlin. All right. So you got Caitlin's phone number and you've got Eladi's email and I've got, is it so sad that I don't remember off the top of my head what her number is? I've only known her for like 11 or 12 years. Eladi it's saved in my phone. I don't know. I got it. My husband's in the other room. He's like, I can look it up. They end up talking like every day. Miguel, when would you be available to chat? You can actually on any of the videos, like every single one, probably even this one once it hits, is my Calendly app. So it actually it has my Google Calendar access. So literally any times or days that I'm available, you can go ahead and punch yourself right in there. So we can either do a phone call or we can do a video chat and it just shows up and it actually puts itself right into my calendar so that I don't double book myself or whatever. So that's the best way. I actually use it even for my agents one-on-ones and stuff because I'm like, just add yourself to my calendar. We're good to go. So by far the best way is the Calendly link, which is in like any and all of our videos in the description. The Chamber of Commerce just did their guide for people that are moving here. So the relocation guide, I was thinking renovation. I'm like, that is not right. That is not right. So the relocation guide just got updated. And I updated that in there as well. So if you want to look at different companies and stuff throughout Marion County, that's all in there. So please feel free to do that. But all right. Well, I think I made it all the way through with 7 minutes to go. I feel so good. All right. And we've got Eladi. Oh, she already has her stuff in there. Okay. Well, all right. So all of her information is in there. So if you guys want to email her and get any of the stuff, she has full access to everything because that's all company stuff that we've created for any of our agents. So if you guys need anything at all, just let us know. We're here to help. Okay. Even if you're not purchasing in Marion County, if you're just purchasing in somewhere in Florida, we're still going to help you out. Okay. And if you need an agent where you are in whatever state, I've been doing this for forever and a day. I literally have a Google Drive sheets where it has all of the agents I know in all of the different states and all of the counties that they work in and their contact information. And these are all agents that I actually know and trust to take care of people. I don't have every single county in the United States yet. But when I meet an agent that really impresses with me with how much they care about their customers and it's customers over commission, I make sure and put them in there so that we have them for, it might be 5 years down the road, but they're not going anywhere normally. So anyway, so if you need an agent that we really like in your area, let us know and we will make sure and hook you up with somebody really great. So just let us know. Okay. All right. That is it for us. We are done about 5 minutes early. Woohoo. So you guys are ready to go. And again, contact us if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And yes, my Calendly link is in the description on any of my videos. So thank you so much for joining us today. This was a lot of fun. So I guess we're going to do more of these. So look for those, or if you have somebody that's interested in purchasing in Florida, then they can definitely listen to some of these as well and join us for those. So we will send out notifications for that on the weekly updates. So, all right, thanks so much. You guys have a great day and thanks for joining us. Bye.